Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about what the deku was a ghost. So in the last video, deku, well, basically, after a bit of fighting of, Michael between, Miranda, well, after Miranda escapes, Michael decides to basically bring Izuku to be healed by, by Yahweh. The heroes thought, Michael was a villain. So after a bit of fighting a little bit, not really fighting, more like verbal fighting. Well, Michael decides to leave. So after being told, by some random angels, basically lower ranking angels, well, apparently another attack by some demons are apparently happening in purgatory, which is basically just a battlefield. So yeah, Izuku was being healed, and for the My Hero Academia cast, they were told what actually happened to Izuku and why is he like this. After being told that Izuku is actually a ghost, they were in shock. So yeah, so when Michael was retreating, he decides to bring out one of their most dangerous fallen angels and set them free to be a ally of theirs, at least a little bit. So after going to a special vault or cell or prism or whatever you want to call it, they see the fallen angel Mastema, the so-called saint of justice. So after a bit of talking, Mastema wishes after the battle he wants to well well become Izuku's brand new he wants to get Izuku's body and basically turn it into his brand new body to basically stay in, basically just going inside of Izuku's body and becoming a normal human being, or at least as normal as a ghost can be. So yeah, so after that he started getting ready to go into battle against hell and heaven. So yeah, so let's talk about what happens next. So Mastema is basically wearing his old armor back when he was not a fallen angel. As Michael says this, huh? Still looks good on you, Mr. Mastema. As Mastema says this, shut the fuck up. I'm only doing this so I can just get out of that horrible, horrible place. So, after he wears his old armor, he's off and decides to look at Izuku's resting body. As when Mastama looks, he says this. So this is the champion. He seriously needs to get some improvements. As Michael says this. Mastama, alright. We're going to be we're going to be starting the attack at this over here. As they see the mountain that basically reaches all the way to heaven and all the way to hell. The purgatory is basically like basically it has like a gigantic mountain, each presenting the seven deadly sins, and each sin is basically well, basically each sin represents a bit of hell and a little bit of heaven. And every time when the demons come, they'll keep reaching to their goal and basically destroying heaven, or at least like going through like each rooms. Actually, let's just say floors. The more that they go into the floors, the weaker they become. So if they basically just waited, they can just basically defeat them. But the only problem is Leviathan. His massive size and his ability to basically create poisonous gases can probably kill any normal ranking angel. But for archangels, they're pretty much okay with it. But but there's also another problem. Well, it's Leviathan's strength. He could probably just destroy one archangel in an instant. So yeah. So wait for a second. Sorry about that. So after being told that, Mestama says this: "May I can just take him down by myself. I can easily beat him. I mean, I am one of the original seven." As Michael says this, Mastama, no. As Mastama says this, why? As Michael says this, what if you try and betray us? As Uriel says this, Michael, I mean, he did try to almost destroy humanity itself, but yeah, at least he's kind of changed. As wait for a second again. As Azriel says this, please don't question our leader, Uriel. As Uriel says this, brother, as she says, not she says, I meant he says this, Uriel, don't question Michael. And if you do, you're just betraying God. As when wait for a second again. When Uriel hears that, she says this. Fine. So, Michael says this. Alright, we'll be starting later. So it's better for all of you to rest, including you, Mastama. So, Mastama was basically just resting right next to the sleeping body of Izuku. And if you're wondering what gender is, Mastama, well, yeah, he's actually technically a boy and a girl together. Yeah, like he has the mix of like both genders in his body. He basically gets like the like breasts, like basically literally just he's able to basically just change his gender. So most of the time he's just a boy, but sometimes if he's like pretty bored, he would transform into a girl. So at the time, he's basically transformed into a girl, basically because he was just basically just looking around. Basically, just he's just transformed into a girl. So when he's like resting right next to Izuku, he slash she says this. So you're the champion. As he slash she starts poking Izuku's face. As he slash she says this. So, I wonder what are you dreaming? As Uriel comes into to the room, as she says this, "Hello, Mastema." As this, "Hello, Uriel." So, how's your brother, Azriel? As Uriel says this, "Not really good. Ever since you basically betrayed us, well, well, Azriel has been pretty much distant." As Mastema says this. Whatever. So, while they're basically talking, let's go back to to the My Hero Academia verse, so we can see what they're actually doing right now. So, they're well, Eri was being told by All Might that she's going to become his successor because he wants to try and basically help her a little bit because she is now technically an only child. Not really an only child, more like she can't find Izuku at all. So after a bit of training, All Might says this: "Young Eri, are you ready to use my power?" As she says this, "Yes, All Might." So she uses full cowling as she creates a blast of energy. As in energy, I mean electricity. As she says this, "Whoa, I feel much powerful." As well All Might says this. Good. Now, we're going to be attacking the League of Villains soon. As, well, Ares says this. Wait, but but these villains, they're not even attacking yet. As, well, All Might says this. Well, we've been informed that, well, that they're gonna be planning to attack, well, well, as Ares says this. What is it? As All Might says this. They're planning to attack Kyoko. I meant not Kyoko. I meant Kyoto. Soon, with an army of Nomus. As she says this. Wait, an army of Nomus, but just one of them would probably even defeat any type of hero. As All Might says this. That is why I'm afraid. That is why I want to defeat All for One, so I can end their suffering. So this is going to be um well a bit of the just a bit of the anime, just basically like my usual endings, but except Eri is going to be the one that's defeating All for One. So let's go back to Izuku and in heaven. So yeah, so so when Izuku wakes up, Izuku says this. I still feel a bit hurt, but after Izuku sees his bandages, Izuku sees that it's fully healed, but there was a tattoo in its place where Izuku got stabbed. Izuku says this. What the heck is this? As Izuku looks around, Izuku sees Yahweh looking over the city of heaven. As Izuku says this, Yahweh, you know what happened? As he says this, oh, I'm just worried. As Izuku says this. What do you mean by worried? As he says this, it seems that the angels, or at least my archangels, they're being defeated well, by Leviathan's army. And Izuku says this. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can, as, well, wait for a second. As Yahweh says this. No, you cannot. I mean, you already suffered enough. You're basically experimented on, even killed, and I had to revive you. You're almost killed by Miranda, and I don't want to get hurt. You're just an innocent. You're basically just an innocent kid. It's all thanks to me that I helped you, and I want to repay that back. I just want you to be a normal kid. Izuku says this. Wait for a second. As Izuku says this, Yahweh. As he says this, I couldn't just let you suffer. I seen suffering that's even greater than yours, and I don't want to have any other people suffer. As Yahweh starts crying, of the suffering of the world, it's all my fault. If I weren't such an idiot, the World War One and World War Two, no more. All those people dying. He starts crying and crying. Izuku says this, Yahweh. As Yahweh says this, don't worry about me. Don't worry. You can just rest now. Let my archangels do it. You deserve it. As Izuku was brought back to the bed. So, while Izuku was resting, Izuku hears the sound of explosions. As Izuku goes back to the balcony where Yahweh stood, Yahweh said this. Oh no. The archangels basically retreated, but it brought with them, Leviathan himself, as he starts crushing heaven with his gigantic feet and serpent-like body. As Leviathan starts creating more of the dark smoke, several of the people, mostly dead people, started turning into nothingness. The archangel said this, Yahweh, we're sorry, we were not strong enough. As, well, wait for a second. As Mastema said this, I told you to let me do it, but no, you decided to just do it yourself, you self-righteous as, well, wait for a second. As Azriel brings out his scythe as he says this, do not say another word, Mastema. As Mastema says this, whatever. Huh? He looks over as he slash she looks, and he slash she looks, well, looks at Izuku as he slash, let's just say that that's a she, I guess, now, because Mastema's now turned into a girl, because while in the fight, well, he was tampered with, well, Asmodeus, which is the demon of lust, which forced, well, Mastema to basically turn into a girl. So yeah, well, now he's a girl from now on. So I'm just gonna be calling him she. So Mastema looks as she looks at Izuku as she says this. So you must be the Izuku kid, the so-called champion of heaven. Hey, you trying to defeat this guy? As everybody said this, or literally in sync. Mastema, no! As, well, Asriel says this. We don't want our champion to be killed by that thing. He's too powerful. As Mastema says this. You forgot about our arrangement. As Yahweh says this. Yeah, maybe we can do that. As, well, Michael says this. What do you mean by that? As, well, Yahweh says this. Izuku. As Izuku says this. What is it? Yahweh. As Yahweh says this. Go. As Master basically transforms into a blade for Izuku. As Izuku says this. What is happening? As his body, Izuku's body starts changing. Izuku transforms into this, but except more complete. Instead of the dark, horrifying body, his body turns into, well, his almost ripped up robes basically turn into, well, like a church's outfit. Not like a church. I meant like a priestess outfit, basically. As he gains armor, and Mastema when he turned into a sword, or she, well, the sword was basically like a katana. Basically, just a bigger version of a katana with, well, spikes. With, like, extra spikes. Izuku says this. What the hell happened to me? As Yahweh and the rest of the archangels say this. Izuku Midoriya, the brand new archangel. Izuku says this. Wait, what? Archangel? As, well, Michael says this. Yes. You are now the champion of heaven. And not only that, ascended to the champion level. The champion of heaven himself. You will be known as henceforth as Angelus. Now, fulfill your destiny and defeat Leviathan. Ezekiel says this. Uh, what do you mean by a brand new archangel? As Uriel says this. Well, because you're, well, wielding Mastema, you're now the brand new archangel of, well, justice? As, well, the angel of death slash temperance, I think. AKA, well, Azriel basically says this. You can do it, kid. I believe in you. As Yahweh says this. Yes, defeat that monster, and then you can go back to the human. Izuku says this. Sure. So, Izuku jumps off, wielding his wings. his wings with eyes. Izuku says this, "You beast." The beast known as Leviathan. As Leviathan looks over with his several eyes. As he says this, "Who dares challenge me? The great demon of envy." As Izuku says this, "It's time for you to pay for your sins." As Leviathan says this, "I won't die. You will die." As he spits out a big blast of miasma. As Izuku takes it to the face. As, well, Leviathan says this. "Interesting. So, you were able to basically take all of the blast of miasma that I have created? Interesting. No matter. Die." As he starts shooting out fire, Izuku basically blocks it. As Izuku stabs, as in stabs, I mean goes inside of, well, the body of, well, Leviathan. The Archangel said this, "Izuku, what happened?" As Yahweh says this, "Wait a minute." As, well, Yahweh smiles. As, well, the Archangel said this, "Wait, why are you smiling, Yahweh?" As he says this, "Look." As Leviathan's stomach starts growling, as Leviathan says this, "Why do I feel sick?" As his body starts rotting away, as Izuku inside of Leviathan stabs the heart of hell, which is basically, well, hell itself, or at least like a key to hell. As Leviathan says this, it basically starts like hyperventilate. I mean, basically starts getting a heart attack. As he says this, "Help, help, help!" As he stops breathing, instantly killing him. Izuku defeated Leviathan. Leviathan's body starts transforming into, well, nothing more than a skeleton. Izuku coming out of the skeleton, Izuku says this, "It is done." As Yahweh says this, "Impressive." As Mastema, still in her, well, sword form, basically says this, "Hey, why you didn't why you didn't just, well, forgive me as well, or at least just reward me or something?" As, well, wait for a second. As Yahweh says this, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you the one that killed Leviathan?" As Yahweh said, not Yahweh, I meant, Mastema says this, "I mean, I technically killed him with my body, but," as Asriel says this, "Anyway, I think it's better for you to go back to the human world, Izuku." As Izuku says this, "What is it?" As, well, Asriel shows a little, well, a mirror. This mirror can see through the human world, which allows him to basically, well, seek out souls that are about to die or already dead. After, well, seeing it, Izuku sees Eri fighting All for One, with the rest of the heroes fighting other villains. As Izuku says this, "I need to help them now." As Yahweh says this, "Don't worry." As he creates a large portal so he can basically go to the human world and basically protect them. As Yahweh says this, "Alright, Izuku, fight for your loved ones. Let them feel hope. Let them feel the justice that you are able to basically create. Because you are now the brand new angel of justice." As Mastema Stoner, well, sword form says this, "Alright, let's do this, kid." As Izuku says this, "Sure, Mastema." Wait for a second. So, After they get back to the human world, well, let's go into the perspective of Eri. Eri is basically fighting all for one. As she says this, I will defeat you all for one so I can end their suffering. You villain! As he says this. You really think that I am a villain? You're the villains. Sorry about that. You're the ones that killed, tortured, and even suppressed other people's quirks. You're the ones that are villains. While in the Bakugo is basically fighting as he says this. I'm fighting for you, nerd. Even though I don't like it, but you are the nerd. As Izuku, as in Izuku, I meant Izuku is still in this brand new form. Basically, comes out of a portal. The portal was struck by lightning. As everybody sees the portal, as they see the large, imposing angel, Izuku wielding, Mastema the blade. As Izuku says this, it's been a long while. As everybody said this, Izuku, is that you? As Eri says this, Izuku, you're okay. Izuku says this, yes, sister. Now, all for one. The villain that you are, I do, sympathize with you. Especially with your cause, but your methods are disgusting and deplorable. It's time for you to pay. He brings out his blade as he says this. Die! As he's just basically just pushes down his blade as a big gust of wind slices all for one, killing him, ending his evil empire forever. All Might says this. Izuku, you defeated all for one. As Bako said this. Whatever, nerd. As, well, Eri, Todoroki, and Neji come back and basically started hugging Izuku. As they said this, Izuku, I thought you were dead. Says, Eri. As for, Todoroki and, Neji, both them say this. Please don't scare us like that ever again. Izuku says this. Don't worry. I am now an archangel. As they said this. Wait, an archangel? Izuku says this. Yes. You can call me the Archangel of Justice. You can call me Angelus from now on. But you can just still call me Izuku. Everybody was happy for Izuku. Especially because he's now an archangel. So, yeah. This will be the epilogue of this series. So, yeah. So, let's begin the epilogue. So, in the epilogue, Izuku is now married to Nejiri. And for some other, people, they're actually, pretty happy. They're pretty much safe in Japan. But some other countries are still, in terror. In terror or endangered by some villainous means. As in means, I mean, several villains have been, capitalizing in, over one's death. Some even trying to, mimic his work. And one of them was Overhaul. Izuku basically brought of not over one, I meant basically just brought him, aka Overhaul, to justice by bringing him to basically bringing him to Tartarus. Basically, everybody knows Izuku as the number one hero of the world. So Izuku basically creates two children with Nejiri, One of them was a girl with the same powers as Izuku, but except a more heavenly touch. And for the other, basically has, Neji's quirk, basically. So, yeah. So, for Eri, she becomes the number two hero and actually marries, well, Monoma, actually. They basically get a child after that, and for a few centuries, Izuku has been living for a few centuries ever since, well, Nejiri's death. Because Izuku is now immortal because of his, angelic, powers now. Izuku is considered as the ultimate hero, the hero of heroes now. And when Izuku died at the age of like a few thousand years, well, they created a special temple to worship him as a warrior, so they can basically gain the power or some sort of power or something similar to Izuku. So, yeah, and Izuku's, children made more children, and the bloodline still goes on as intended, as they're basically considered, well, as, families of angels, basically. So, Izuku is basically in heaven now. Now, as a ghost slash archangel, still living with Nedry in heaven with the rest of his, classmates, friends, and, well, family. So, yeah, this will be the ending of What If Deku Was a Ghost. And I hope you love this series, and I hope you like the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.